Welcome to Max Premieres. Prime Video has a science fiction catalog that many completely overlook. Today we're bringing you 13 brilliant science fiction films that combine captivating ideas with narratives that don't fear questioning reality itself deeply. From dark dystopian futures to terrifying alien invasions, from impossible thought experiments to time loops that defy comprehension. These aren't just entertaining movies, they're films that stay with you days after the credits roll. Everything you need for an authentic science fiction marathon where the idea matters as much as action. But before we dive in, it would mean a lot if you took a second to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. Number 13. 10. Cloverfield Lane. Michelle wakes up in an underground bunker with no memory of how she got there. Howard, the owner of the farmhouse above it, tells her that outside there was a catastrophic attack, chemical or nuclear. He's not sure. Emmett, another survivor trapped with her, confirms the story. But as days pass, cracks in Howard's narrative begin to widen. Inconsistencies accumulate. Is Howard really a savior, or is he the real danger? 10 Cloverfield Lane is directed by Dan Trachtenberg and stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead, John Goodman, and John Gallagher Jr. What makes this film special is that it keeps you in constant paranoia. Every line of dialogue weighs, every gesture loaded with intention raises suspicion, every uncomfortable pause creates a question. Goodman delivers one of his best recent performances, balancing threat and protection. The psychological tension here surpasses any explosion. It arrived on Prime Video, becoming one of the platform's most watched thrillers. Number 12. Mickey 17. Mickey Barnes is an expendable worker, a cloned body designed to perform dangerous tasks where death is nearly certain. Every time he dies, they simply print him again, no problem, no guilt, no emotional consequences. His mission is to colonize Niflheim, a frozen planet where survival is nearly impossible and where the mortality rate is virtually guaranteed. What begins as a routine of deadly tasks becomes an existential question when Mickey discovers that his previous clone didn't die as he was told. Mickey 17 is directed by Bong Joon-ho, the genius behind Parasite, and stars Robert Pattinson in his best science fiction role. What makes this film unique is its ability to blend absurd humor with deep questions about identity, human worth, and freedom. Bong proves here he can do anything within the genre while maintaining his personal touch. Number 11. A Quiet Place. Day 1. The first day of the silent invasion. New York collapses within minutes as sound-sensitive creatures descend on the city without warning or explanation. Sam, a woman trapped in the chaos of crowded streets, fights to find safety as the world crumbles into absolute silence and panic grips everyone around her. The film is directed by Michael Sarnowski and stars Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn in roles of genuine vulnerability. A Quiet Place. Day 1 is not a traditional sequel, but a total immersion into the first act of Sonic Apocalypse. What worked in the previous film's tension built on silence is amplified here because we're witnessing the exact moment humanity loses its voice. The paradox is that the greatest horror comes from silence, not noise. Nyong'o delivers a devastating performance. Number 10. Mortal Engines. London isn't a place but a machine, a gigantic mobile city that devours other settlements to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. Tom Natsworthy lives an ordinary life inside this giant urban engine until he rescues Hester Shaw, a fugitive hunted by the relentless Thaddeus Valentine and his fleet of airships. His act of compassion expels him from the city into a devastated world where he must learn to survive by new rules. Mortal Engines is directed by Christian Rivers and is an adaptation of Philip Reeve's novel. The film is visually and brutally beautiful, cities pursuing each other, poisoned air, a world where predation is absolute law. Action cinema here isn't a luxury, but an inherent narrative necessity. Though it received mixed reviews, its visual ambition and detailed world-building make it essential for fans of large-scale science fiction. Number 9. Mercy. In a dystopian future, capital crimes are judged by an impartial AI. You have 90 minutes to prove your innocence or you will be executed with no appeal. Detective Chris Mercer is accused of the worst crime imaginable, murdering his own wife. trapped in a courtroom controlled by the machine he helped design years ago, he has 90 minutes to dismantle a system that seemed infallible. Mercy is a conceptual thriller where truth becomes as slippery as justice itself. Every minute counts. Every revelation raises more questions. What makes this film great is that it doesn't trust its audience. The plot twists, rides, and deliberately contradicts itself. It arrived on Prime Video just in 2026. Number 8. Hardcore Henry. Henry wakes up on an operating table with no memory whatsoever, transformed into a cyborg by Albina, a Russian mercenary who needs him for an impossible mission. His wife was kidnapped by dark forces, and mercenaries hunt him through the chaotic streets of Moscow without mercy. What follows is 96 minutes of unbridled and unprecedented action chaos. Filmed entirely in first person, as if you're inside the protagonist's body experiencing every hit and gunshot. The film is provocative, chaotic, without traditional narrative sense, but that's exactly the point. It's pure instinct, pure motion, pure unfiltered adrenaline. Directed by Ilya Naishuller in his feature directorial debut, the film is a visual assault that rejects all subtlety and narrative courtesy. For those who love it, it's pure action video game turned cinema. Number 7. Overlord. The night before the D-Day landings, American paratroopers crash behind enemy lines in occupied France, not knowing what awaits. Their official mission is to destroy a strategic radio tower, but what they actually find is a secret Nazi lab where scientists conduct aberrant experiments on human subjects. The soldiers must fight not only well-trained enemy troops, but monstrous creatures created through Nazi experimentation. Overlord is directed by Julius Avery and blends wartime tension with visceral horror in a completely unique way. It's neither typical war film nor typical horror, it's both simultaneously in perfect balance. The film is brutal, intimate, and claustrophobic, for those seeking something different in both genres. Number 6. Self-Less. Damien Hale is a dying billionaire magnate who discovers an experimental procedure capable of transferring his mind into a young and healthy body. He emerges from Albright's facility completely rejuvenated, with a second chance at life he always dreamed of. But the new body comes with disturbing memories of its previous life, and those memories lead him into a dark conspiracy where human lives are treated as reusable commodities. Self-Less is directed by Tarsem Singh, the filmmaker of hypersaturated color and perfect visual composition. The film is beautiful to watch, but conceptually complex. It raises deep questions about identity, morality, and the cost of longevity without fully resolving them. Ryan Reynolds is at his best dramatically here. Number 5. Bloodshot. Ray Garrison is an elite soldier who wakes after being brutally killed and rebuilt with advanced nanotechnology that makes him nearly unstoppable and invulnerable. Driven by burning revenge, he begins methodically tracking down those responsible for his death. But as he progresses in his vengeful search, Ray discovers that his memories may be false, that his enemies may be pure invention, that his rage may be programmed by external forces. Bloodshot is directed by Dave Wilson in his feature directorial debut and stars Vin Diesel. The film blends brutal action with a mental twist that places it in authentic, existential thriller territory. It's not deep, but constantly questions its own narrative foundation. Diesel works well in a character questioning his own reality and existential purpose. Number 4. The Vast of Night. New Mexico, 1950, Faye, a telephone switchboard operator, and Everett, a night radio DJ, intercept a mysterious signal during a quiet night in a small, isolated town. What begins as youthful curiosity becomes obsession when they discover unsettling stories of strange lights, people missing without explanation, and deeply buried military secrets. The Vast of Night is directed by Andrew Patterson in his feature debut and is a nostalgic love letter to 1950s science fiction cinema. The film feels retro out of pure narrative necessity, not empty nostalgia. The era of transistors and AM radios is the perfect setting for mystery that exists more in imagination than on screen. The tension comes from sound, from the unseen, from words whispered in darkness. Number 3. The Endless. Brothers Justin and Aaron escaped a destructive cult many years ago and want to close that dark chapter. Now finally seeking emotional closure, they decide to revisit the campground where they once lived under total community control. What they find is a landscape completely frozen in time, members unchanged physically, strange symbols scattered everywhere, impossible events repeating endlessly without apparent end. The Endless is directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, filmmakers who deeply understand that authentic horror questions the nature of reality itself. The film is a visual puzzle that constantly reconstitutes itself. It refuses to let you understand its rules. It's speculative science fiction turned into an infinite game of mirrors. It arrived on Prime Video, becoming an instant cult film. Number 2. Automata. In a dying world where most human life has been eradicated by devastating nuclear radiation, Jack Vaughn is an insurance inspector for the organization that maintains the fragile existing status quo. His routine job is to verify that robots don't violate their immutable protocols. They cannot repair themselves. They cannot reproduce under any circumstance. When surprising evidence suggests a robot has violated these foundational laws, Jack is sent to investigate. What begins as routine administrative procedure becomes a devastating discovery that could mean machines are evolving toward independent self-awareness. Automata is directed by Gabe Ibanez and stars Antonio Banderas in one of his best dramatic science fiction roles. The film is slow, meditative, but brilliant in logical and deep philosophical construction. Number 1. Equals. In a future utopian society where human emotions have been completely eradicated through sophisticated pharmaceuticals to achieve total social peace, Silas is an illustrator who inexplicably begins to feel. His assistant Nia is experiencing the same thing independently. In a world where feeling is classified as psychological disease and intimate relationships are capital crimes, their emerging connection becomes an act of genuine revolutionary resistance. Equals is directed by Drake Doremus and stars Nicholas Hoult and Kristen Stewart in deeply emotional roles. The film is visually flawless, sterile white occasionally interrupted by color as emotion emerges spontaneously. It's slow, contemplative cinema that rejects explosive action in favor of deep psychological introspection. For those who surrender to its emotional logic, it's a profound and memorable artistic experience. And that's everything for today with our 13 completely hidden science fiction films on Prime Video. There are complex mind trips, terrifying alien invasions, devastating dystopian futures, and philosophical questions that challenge the nature of reality itself. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our next videos. Did you already know any of these fascinating films? Which one are you watching first without hesitation? Let us know in the comments. We genuinely love reading them. See you in the next one.